Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into the truly fascinating evolution of communication protocols. We'll be looking at exactly how devices talk to each other, tracing their journey from microscopic super-safe printed circuit boards, all the way out to sprawling factories and massive agricultural fields. It's an incredible evolution, so let's get into it.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll break down why basic protocols fall short. Then we'll explore CAN in vehicles, RS-485 in industry, USB on your desktop, going wireless with BLE, and finally, how you actually go about choosing the right protocol.
Section 1. Why we need more.
Now, if you're familiar with UART, SPI, and I2C, you already know they're absolutely fantastic when they're sitting on a safe, green circuit board. But the second they leave that perfectly controlled environment, oh man, they hit severe limits. For starters, they're restricted to mere centimeters. Plus, their single-ended signaling is incredibly vulnerable to electromagnetic noise. And SPI, it requires separate chip select lines, making large networks totally impractical. Oh, and none of them support wireless. I mean, just imagine trying to control heavy machinery in a massive, noisy facility with a protocol that maxes out at a few centimeters? Yeah, no way. We definitely need something a whole lot tougher.
Section 2. CAN, the automotive backbone. So let's jump right into our first truly harsh environment, the modern automobile. This is a place where communication reliability is literally a matter of life and death. Enter CAN, developed by Bosch way back in 1986. The absolute key to its success here is priority-based arbitration. See, there's no central host slowing things down. Instead, critical messages automatically win the race. Imagine if your car's brakes had to wait in line for the radio to finish downloading a song before they engaged. That would be disastrous. But with CAN's arbitration and its high noise immunity, that nightmare scenario never happens.
To see how this works in practice, just look at the engine control unit, the brain of the engine. It uses the CAN bus to constantly and flawlessly communicate vital sensor data. We're talking temperature, RPM, fuel levels, all blasted to the rest of the vehicle in real time, completely bypassing the need for a single central computer to orchestrate the conversation.
But hey, it's not just the engine doing all the heavy lifting. Think about your anti-lock braking system. When you slam on the brakes, your wheel speed sensors fire off life-saving data over the CAN bus in fractions of a millisecond to prevent lockup. It's CAN's incredible speed and robust error detection that makes this kind of instant reaction even possible. And then, of course, the big one, airbag systems. When a crash occurs, sensors immediately trigger high-priority CAN messages. And because of that priority-based arbitration we just talked about, the crash sensor wins the network priority battle over everything else on the bus, every single time, deploying those airbags instantly. It really is just a perfect synergy of a protocol matching its environment.
Section 3. RS-485, long-distance industrial bus.
Let's move along and see how this builds. When we leave the garage behind and step onto a sprawling, electrically noisy factory floor, we need serious reach, 1,200 meters. That is the number you really want to remember for RS-485. I mean, to put that into perspective, contrast the tiny little centimeters of a basic I2C trace to this massive 1,200-meter reach. By using differential signaling over a twisted pair cable, RS-485 allows up to 32 devices, like PLCs and heavy motor drives, to reliably talk across a massive plant, completely ignoring all that heavy electrical noise.
Section 4. USB, universal plug-and-play.
Now let's totally shift our environmental focus. Stepping out of that massive industrial plant and just sitting down at our everyday consumer desktop reveals a really striking difference. We instantly trade the sprawling, chaotic, multi-drop reality of an RS-485 industrial panel for simple, sleek little charging cables. USB is specifically built for point-to-point connections over short distances, usually under 5 meters.
So why is it so popular? Well, USB perfectly adapted to consumer daily tasks by using a host-controlled architecture. Your PC acts as the boss, automatically detecting devices the exact moment they're plugged in, for true plug-and-play simplicity. But arguably its best trick is how effortlessly it handles both blazing fast data, we're talking up to 5 gigabits per second, and power delivery simultaneously on the exact same 4-wire bus. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate convenience protocol.
Section 5. Going wireless, BLE, and beyond.
So we've conquered the circuit board, the car, the factory, and the desktop. But what if we can't use wires at all? When physical connections become completely impossible or just too bulky, that's when the wireless ecosystem takes over. A really perfect example of this untethered world is Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE. Remember a minute ago how we said USB 3.0 provides 900 milliamps of power? Well, BLE takes the exact opposite approach. Its entire architecture is built around ultra-low power operation. It intentionally sacrifices heavy data loads so the smartwatch on your wrist doesn't just up and die in a single day, but instead runs for months or even years on a tiny little coin cell battery.
Of course, BLE isn't the only option out there. Take Wi-Fi, for example. It gives you huge speeds, up to 1 gigabit per second, but it burns a lot of power and its range is strictly limited to about 100 meters. So it's perfect for data-heavy cloud connectivity at your house. In stark contrast, we have LoRa, or long range. Now, LoRa operates at a tiny fraction of that speed, just 50 kilobits per second, but it can cast that data over 10 kilometers away. It's perfectly designed for sending low-power blips of agricultural data across literal miles of open fields.
Section 6. Choosing the right protocol.
Wow, okay, we have covered some incredible ground today. Now, what's really interesting here is how all of this synthesizes our entire journey. It visually proves the absolute golden rule of embedded systems. There is literally no single protocol that fits all real-world applications. CAN absolutely rules the automotive space with its high reliability. RS-485 stretches across those 1,200 meters of industrial space. USB powers your high-speed desktop peripherals, while BLE offers low-power wireless magic, and LoRa handles that massive long-range reach. Ultimately, the right choice always depends on your specific environment, distance, data rate, and your power budget.
Which leaves us with one final, kind of massive thought to ponder. As we hurtle toward a world populated by tens of billions of connected devices, which protocol is going to dominate the future of the Internet of Things? Or will it just remain this diverse, sprawling ecosystem of specialized tools? I'll let you chew on that one. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep exploring the amazing, highly connected world around you.